After last week's success where we took a look at an Airbus A320 in a special livery made by Herpa Wings and Scale 500, we tried to continue the success with yet another A320 in Scale 500 with a special livery. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, we will find out thanks to the great prices of the FMB shop. I can highly recommend them. Do check them out. There's a link in the video description below. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A320-200 of Edelweiss. At the front of the box, we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of the box we have the Edelweiss branding. The backside of the box unfortunately has yet another cutout. What a dreadful box design from Herpa Wings. So the only thing really worth mentioning here is simply the fact that this model is a limited edition. And here she is, the Airbus A320-200 in the special Help Alliance livery of Edelweiss. The Help Alliance was founded by Lufthansa Group employees back in 1999. But now you might say, but Edelweiss isn't Lufthansa, and I mean, you're right, but you're also wrong. Because Edelweiss is a subsidiary of Swiss International Airlines, which of course is part of the Lufthansa Group, and that is why we can find this livery on this aircraft. So now that that is sorted, how has Herpa managed with this Scale 500 adaptation of the aircraft? Well, we will find out by taking a closer look at it, starting off with the tail section, where we have on the vertical stabilizer the Edelweiss branding slightly modified as the Edelweiss flower, which of course is, well, given the name to the airline, is on the backdrop of these, well, graphical hands, which is part of the special Help Alliance livery. On the fuselage we then have the full registration code of the aircraft, we have the Swiss flag, and we can see the Help Alliance logo has been added here as well. And then towards the very tail of the aircraft we do have a bit of detailing around the APU exhausts. And from the tail of the aircraft we can move all the way to the front of the fuselage. Here we do find in the cabin door the Edelweiss flower on top of, again, these red hands. Across the fuselage we then of course have the writing of Edelweiss. Underneath that we find the writing of Switzerland. Now there is at least one static port here on the side of the fuselage, but it is slightly hidden away inside the livery, but it is there. And another static port can be found underneath the cockpit windows, where we also find the name of the aircraft. So apart from these two details, we also have the cockpit windows, and of course with the metallic edges and the window wipers printed on. But that's all the detailing we get for the cockpit section. From the cockpit section we can then move on to the engine nacelles. They have been kept in all white, but do have the silver leading edge and a safety marking printed on. Very relevant, because otherwise we don't have any detailing here when it comes to prints on these engines, which makes them a little bit boring. But at least we have the safety markings. For the physical detailing, I think that's perfectly fine, especially here from the front. Very, very nice. You can see the engine fan blades. Then on the fuselage, just above the wings, we have the emergency exits printed on. That was of course the Achilles heel from last week's episode, where then the safety marking on the wing was misprinted. So how has Herpa managed this time? Well, it does look like they have managed to align the emergency exit markings with the emergency exits. Well done, Herpa. For the rest here we have of course the flap slats and spoilers. We have some different shades of grey for additional detailing. Also the underside has some lovely bit of physical detailing and the full registration code of the aircraft. And of course the wings of this A320 also have winglets with the Edelweiss branding. That looks quite lovely. Unfortunately Herpa is very inconsistent with these winglets, so you do need to check that up on every single A320 family aircraft model with these kind of winglets. So let's see how Herpa has done in this case. And I mean, yeah, overall, I think that is definitely within acceptable margins. The landing gear on this aircraft model is then the standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all the Airbus A320 family aircraft models. A good thing for the main landing gear, which looks fine. Unfortunately, the front landing gear remains massively oversized. Herpa just does not learn and refuses to change it. And of course, we also don't have any printed details here. On the belly of the aircraft we then also don't really have any printed details, but we do have a hole in the fuselage for a stand that of course is not included with this aircraft model, making it really rather pointless. And then last but not least we do have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft and also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A320-200 in the special Help Alliance livery of Edelweiss from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500, and what can we say about this aircraft model? I mean, overall, I think Herpa has done a fairly decent job with this aircraft model, especially when it comes to recreating this livery. When we look at images of the aircraft in real life and compare it with the model, I mean, it's fine for a scale 500 model, that's not too bad. Of course, we should have more printed details, especially considering the official retail price, but the details they have added, they have done so very nicely. And also the physical detailing is actually not too bad. I mean, I quite like the wings. I actually also don't mind the cockpit shape of this aircraft model. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of Herpa's A320 mold. Maybe it's because it's kind of hidden away thanks to the livery. Maybe they have just done a little bit better with this model compared to others. I don't care if it's one or the other, I just am happy that it, for me, looks alright in this case. What, however, unfortunately is not alright with this aircraft model is the quality. And what do I mean by that? Well, while reviewing this aircraft model, it just basically fell apart. When I took it out of the box, well, the front landing gear went its own way, and then shortly after, the wing fell off. And yes, we are not talking a situation like with the Aegean A320, where pretty much every single model was released without a single drop of glue, so all parts just fell out of these models. Most of these Edelweiss models will probably arrive with all parts attached, but the fact that you have these loose parts is becoming more normal with Herpa Wings. It is in fact now becoming so normal that even Herpa Wings themselves have acknowledged that there is an issue. They said so themselves in a recent Instagram live stream. So now that Herpa has acknowledged that loose parts with their models is an issue, Herpa, it is time to fix it. So if you, unlike me, have found an Edelweiss Herpa Lions special livery A320 where all parts are coming attached to the aircraft model, well then I would say yes, it is worth having in one's collection, because the livery just looks nice on the A320 and Herpa has done well with recreating that. If you, however, find the model as I did, as a snap-fit version, I would probably avoid it. And with that, we have now reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then feel free to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? And with that, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.